it's Clarissa here. So we're back in Limelight, and we're going live today. I normally don't do that, but for these special occasions, and especially around the holidays, I love to be able to get out some really great, fun things that are happening not only here in these United States, but also what they would say across the pond. Lord Carnarvon is joining us. He is the owner of Highclere Castle, and most of us know Highclere Castle from the Downton Abbey fame. Also joining him is Adam von Gootkin. We've had Adam on the show before because they are co-founders in the Highclere Castle Gin and Spirits initiative, which is absolutely glorious and gorgeous. Welcome, gentlemen, to the show. So great to have you. Lord Carnarvon, what's the weather like over there? We were just talking about the weather before you came on.
Oh, it's kind of a gloomy November, slightly misty in the distance day.
Is it? But I will tell you that I've been following along with Instagram, and I've been able to see that Lady Carnarvon has been doing a lot of preparation around the castle. There are things going up all over the place. I saw beautiful trees lit all the way down the drive. I saw a beautiful, huge tree being hoisted in the Grand Salon yesterday. What's it feel like there at Christmas? It's beautiful all year round, but Christmas must be spectacular.
Highclere is a fantastic building for the traditional Victorian Christmas,
right?
With all the wonderful things with trees and decorations. And of course, if you saw the little video on Instagram, which I think was viewed something like 160,000 people or something now.
It was really crazy.
We had some fun pulling it up. I was actually up on the gallery with the rope trying to do some quite heavy lifting at the top.
Were you really? I don't know if I saw that quite, but I did see lots of, there were sort of, very, very tall ladders and lots of, it looked like.
You heard me squealing in the distance because I wasn't wearing
something like that. Lots of fun and festivities. And then I saw that there was a back staircase being decorated yesterday. Lots of fun going on. Now, let's get to it right away. I'd like to introduce to you also Mary Holden, who is the executive editor of the magazine that I had told you about, Lord Carnarvon, and Adam already knows. Let me just show you very quickly.
Hi, Mary. Nice to meet you.
This is the last edition that just dropped last week of the magazine. It is called In the Limelight with Clarissa. It's intelligent media for the savvy entrepreneur. And we do have Orazio Pagani on there. Again, a good friend of mine. He's also featured in the magazine. We're going to be having, I don't know if we should say, but we're just going to, it's a holiday spirit. Why not? We are going to be having Lady Carnarvon on the next cover in March. So we're very excited about that. Mary wanted to join in. She is the executive editor of the magazine along with. So I thought it'd be a great idea for her to come along and say hello. So let me just get to the major idea of what's happening around the castle now. Adam, you chime in whenever you're ready. You came up with the really great idea of your core business was kind of around spirits and liquors and wines, if I'm not mistaken, and you had the great idea to contact Lord Carnarvon and Lady Carnarvon and say, I think I have an idea that might work for us.
Yes, it was nearly 5 years ago now that we had the idea to do this. And of course, Highclere is the most amazing stage for a brand like this in a world where, so many spirits brands don't really have a soul or a real story behind them or a true identity connected to terroir. And Highclere lends itself through its heritage and history and reputation for extreme and incredible hospitality to really lend itself, along with its botanicals and the history of Lord Carnarvon and of course his ancestors, to what I think is the most beautiful and elegant gin brand that's ever been produced.
No, without a doubt. And I know that you're both extremely excited about how many awards has it won by now? And it's really a relatively new brand. So kudos. Great job, you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, 17. I believe by spring of next year will be the most awarded gin in the world.
Yeah, I believe it will be.
We could never have thought that when we first started with the project, could we, Adam? That's incredible.
Could never have it. Yeah, and I know Lord Carnarvon that Adam agreed to, and that's why I was speaking to Lady Carnarvon, how important it was that you were using a lot of the botanicals that are grown right there on the estate. Lots of, from juniper berries. I can't remember them all. Adam, you help me out there. But lots of the things that are used in the gin are grown right there on the estate. And then the gin mill, ginnery, I forget exactly what the proper wording is. The ginnery is the gin mill. Yeah, the ginnery. Let's just call I'm American. Give me a break. The gin mill is one of the oldest. So tell us a little more about that.
We're distilled in the oldest gin distillery in all of England that actually houses the oldest gin copper pot stills.
Right.
And yes, indeed, the botanicals, many of the botanicals come from Highclere's estate, including oranges from the Victorian era orangery and even the lavender that was planted by the bishops of Winchester in the 9th century. And then Lord Carnarvon had the most incredible idea. We were almost done with the recipe. It wasn't perfect. It was the 24th iteration. And I'll let you, Lord Carnarvon, tell the story on what happened next, because this is pretty unique.
Yes, I mean, I even sort of before you ever contacted me out of the blue, I used to think in the orangery, what could I somehow create from all this proliferation of subtropical plants around this? I mean, must be there for Highclere in the future. And then we got going with the whole gin idea, and there were many iterations of the different flavors, the alcohol level, and the rest. And I just thought, there's something that just finally needs a final touch to make it, to improve it and make it maybe a bit smoother. And we have a long tradition of farming here at Highclere, farming ourselves since my father came back after the Second War. And one of the key products we farm is oats. And they're not so much oats for human consumption, they're oats for high-powered racehorses and polo ponies and performance horses. But I thought that maybe we could just put a touch of these oats into the production, the actual distilling process for the gin, and it would smooth the taste. And the master distiller looked at me in amazement when I suggested this. But anyway, amazingly, it worked. And it totally gave the final key percentage change that I just knew, even before I'd even tasted it. When I opened the sample bottle, I knew we suddenly had it right. Do you remember that moment, Adam, when we all were getting eureka?
Oh, I forget it. Yeah, it was critical.
How exciting is that? Mary, I know you had a couple of questions for both Adam and Lord Carnarvon.
Well, one is that I know that gin is made of juniper berries. That's the base. And juniper berries come from the Thuja genus, Thuja. And there is an element of Thuja that somehow affects the brain in a different, almost magical way. So of all the spirits, gin really is more alchemical than when you think of whiskey as a base of, a grain-based product, grain coming from the earth. But the juniper berry is really a very unique item for which to create an alcohol-based product like this. So it seems to me that you are alchemists in terms of alcohol, and there is a little bit of a something to put into our original article, Clarissa, the alchemists of alcohol.
That's great.
I can tell you that Highclere Castle Gin has had a magical effect on my brain on many occasions.
I was going to say, absolutely. Yeah, that would be kind of the whole idea. Let's get to the events themselves. So I know that there's going to be one coming up on Friday the 4th. There's a second one on Friday the 18th. These are the virtual cocktails at the castle. Lord Carnarvon, how do they play out? Where can we find it? How can we join you?
Well, this was, perhaps we should go back a bit. This was an idea that we thought up really at the beginning of the lockdown period. We couldn't all get together anymore because of the terrible coronavirus. And we wanted to still somehow connect with the world with the gin and give people a little bit of fun from Highclere. And I have to admit, early on, and Adam would probably agree with me, we were a little bit sort of amateur and unused to all the equipment, but we got better, didn't we, Adam? As time went on with it.
Absolutely, it's a professional operation now. But it's so cool because in the middle of the darkness of this lockdown, we thought, well, let's bring people into Highclere. So Lord and Lady, Lord and Lady Carnarvon opened up the doors and brought people inside. And what I loved about it is here people are in quarantine, getting dressed in their finest, and tuning in to watch Louis the head butler whip up some cocktails and Lord and Lady Carnarvon, who have the most amazing anecdotes anyway, show up in the castle rooms and stuff. It's just so much fun, and now we're finally bringing it back. So we're really excited about this.
Right. Well, one thing that I wanted on the website this morning, which, by the way, I'm going to put here underneath so that people can go ahead over and join in and learn a little bit more as we're speaking. But one of the things on the website that I found that was really neat that I totally missed the first time was the Butler's Guide to English Cocktails. And so as I'm reading down, of course, the head butler there is it Louis Coelho?
Louis Coelho, yeah.
Louis. And so how incisive, how important is Louis in all of the behind the scenes, if you will, of Highclere Castle Gin?
He is an absolute key element of mixology and creativity of the gin at Highclere.
Right.
And literally over the various virtual cocktail parties we've done inside and even outside the castle in the Folly, it was the last one we did in the summer.
Right.
He's both gone back to the traditional gin cocktail creations, like the bee's knees, the hanky panky, the aviator,
Right.
the famous James Bond martini, Adam, which was the famous bubble.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to try the Rolls Royce, if you don't mind.
Oh, right.
That's probably going to be the ones. That'll probably be ones I try. But it was really great that I was able to find this morning and get a little bit more information about all the different ways that you can drink gin. I mean,
what's amazing too is the cocktails have been made that way at Highclere for about
hundreds of years. Yeah.
The same way. Lady Carnarvon found the butler's handwritten notes in the archives, and the butlers have just passed it on ever since. And so that's
right.
That's what we're trying to do.
Well, we've used traditional ones that you would have known from the time back of Prohibition, practically, plus the well-known English ones, the ginseng and the rest. And also, Louis created the new cocktails he did outside when we were in the Folly in the Temple, and the Grey Pony came past.
Right.
We did raspberries and berries. She helped herself to a bowl of berries and then walked off. I don't know how we managed that.
So I wanted to know a little bit more. Let's know a little bit more, Lord Carnarvon, about what's happening here. So that's for the 4th, and you've got this special Shetland pony coming in to join in. Can you tell us a little more about what we might be? And again, we want to know how we can get to join in.
It's on Facebook Live. You can explain more about the technical aspect.
Okay.
Yeah. So tuning in is very easy. It's Highclere Castle Gin on Facebook and on our Instagram page. Both will be streaming live. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern time. 4 p.m. Eastern time on December 4th. And we've got another one on December 18th. Both will involve different cocktails. The December 18th one will be more Christmas themed. And the 4th one, I believe, will involve the Shetland pony that I'll Lord Carnarvon speak to that.
Actually, horses are a traditional animal at Highclere for term. And the last one we did outside in the summer, we had Phoebe, our beautiful Arab pony, came along and joined us for a moment. This time round, we got the miniature Shetland pony called Muffet. And she's very sweet. And she's going to walk in as if she was Father Christmas, bearing gifts of gin for her.
Oh, that's so lovely. Mary, I'm going to throw it over to you for another question. I love that pony, by the way. That looks like a lot of fun.
So as we write an article to support Lady Carnarvon appearing on the cover, I'm looking for, as a writer, a new angle on gin and how we can bring it all together. Do you have any tips for me? By the way, this is water, and I have been researching the types of glassware that gin is best served in. So I am really looking across the levels of how to profile the castle, the gin, the coming together of the entire experience. One of the things we do within the Limelight magazine is digital content, and I think we have been given a great gift by the two of you for content here. But I'd like to put out something brand new that will catch on, that people will feel like they've discovered something.
So, I may have it for you. So this is something that we've not really used yet, but it is the trend, backed up by the data. It's a little bit strong, and that is vodka is dead, gin is in.
Oh, there you are. Well, okay. Well, how does Adam really feel?
To extrapolate a little bit, vodka has been losing market share rapidly these last couple of years. And what we're seeing, especially from younger, sophisticated drinkers, is that where traditionally 4 years ago, vodka was still the reigning champion in terms of the value of the more high-profile brands. They're realizing that gin makes a more sophisticated, elegant cocktail because it's got more dimension of flavors and the cocktails are more interesting. And so as the consumer is becoming more mature, 27, 28, 29, into their 30s, they're looking for that new experience for the palate, and gin definitely offers that. And then when you take the liquid aside and you affiliate it with such a magical historic place like Highclere and what it represents, all that comes together, in my opinion, to make the perfect storm for a really unique spirit experience that you really don't get from any other gin that's on the market. Because if you think about it, for gins, you've got a few of the very big brands and you've got a bunch of the very small craft brands, but nobody who's really leading the charge to say, no, gin is elegance. Gin can be a bit of glamour, understatedly, with a focus on quality of the liquid. And I think we've done all that, you know?
Absolutely. Do me a favor, will you, before I ask Lord Carnarvon the last question, because we're getting up there in time, and I know you're both really busy. Where can we find Highclere Gin, apart from over at the website, but on social media, how can we find out more about you? And if you wouldn't mind repeating again, how we might be able to join in with you on Friday.
Of course, on our main website, Highclere Castle Gin, we ship to most U.S. states, so you can pick up a bottle there. We are in distribution as well in about 25 states. And our Instagram and Facebook, it's the same, Highclere Castle Gin on both of them. That's December 4th and the 18th. And we'll be posting on our social media the cocktails so that people are welcome to make the same cocktails that Lord and Lady Carnarvon will be enjoying the day of. If they can get their hands on a bottle, there's still plenty of time to ship a bottle out.
How exciting. Lord Carnarvon, this is the last question, and it's for you. And that is, when I was doing my research on Lady Carnarvon and yourself, I was listening to her podcast, and I believe it was her first. And she was talking about the fact that, well, people aren't coming to us. We're going to have to go to them. And this is a podcast. And she was interviewing you. And she was in the very first one, and she was interviewing you. And it was about Christmas and your memories with your grandfather at the castle. Can you share a couple of those with us as we're going into this holiday season?
Oh yes, well he was a great character and a great storyteller and raconteur, and he really belonged to the Roaring '20s. Really, he was one of the lucky ones that survived World War I and then had a great party afterwards. But he did enjoy Christmas with his grandchildren, and he had the big tree and the big lunch on Christmas Day, and the sort of game shooting on Boxing Day. Quite a lot of family and relations around. And I used to live with my parents in another house on the estate. And it was always the big excitement as a small boy to be going up to the castle Christmas Eve around the tree. I mean, you can imagine how exciting that kind of thing was.
Yeah, of course.
And then the Christmas lunch. And I remember one thing you never forget is trying to find the little silver wrapped coin in the Christmas pudding.
Oh, that's so sweet. And so, wow, it's great. I used to do that actually when I was a child too. I don't know if it translated the same, but I used to wrap them up in foil and put them in the cakes. And I don't know if my parents appreciated it, but I did it. So that's got to be awfully warm. There's a warm, loving memories that you have. And now you're making your own. So I wanted to thank you both so much, and Mary, obviously, for being on this call. We try to keep it at about 20 minutes because everybody's got lots of stuff going on around these hectic holidays. So we're going to say thank you so much for being with us again. We will be joining you on Friday, so you'll see us there. And on the 18th, everyone, don't forget Friday the 18th also. Adam, am I correct when I say 4 o'clock PST, and then
EST, Eastern
EST,
time,
4 o'clock EST. Okay, and then everybody else can just figure it out because I can't. 4 o'clock EST. I think everybody's fine. Thanks again, everybody, for being with us here. Mary, thank you again for joining in with us. We really appreciate it. Bye-bye, everybody. Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
You too.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.